Hello friends, good morning and welcome to this new class. And we are studying about different types of crops. We already studied about the major crops like rice, wheat, millets and so on. Maize also we have studied. Today we shall study about few fiber crops. The fiber crops, the crops that are used for the use of fiber, from which we get fiber. Fiber, used for making clothes or making rope, bags, and so on. You might have seen the cotton. Cotton is used for making thread. From thread, we start weaving clothes and so on. Also, another called jute, for making the rice sacks, and so you might have seen the big sack, not the plastic sack but another type of sack that is made with jute. So that is another fiber crop which is helping us to produce the fiber. So let's see, take your textbook, page number 45. So cotton is that we are going to see. Cotton, one of the fiber crop is cotton. Cotton, another one is jute. So cotton, let's see first. So cotton requires high temperature. So the physical conditions that are required for the growth of cotton. First of all, it needs very high temperature. That means cotton grows not in the cold place but in the hot regions. Then it needs light rainfall. It doesn't need too heavy rainfall but very light rainfall. Then 210 frost-free days. So it is a must. 210 frost-free. So sometimes the sky is filled with frost, isn't it? Early morning in the winter, and so if you go, we cannot even see. There is a frost is there or mist is there. So this cotton, they need at least in a year or during the time of growth 210 days of frost-free days climate it needs. If there is frost, then this cotton will get spoiled, will get rotten. So they need hot region and frost-free days. Then it also needs bright sunshine for its growth. So since we already said it needs high temperature, therefore it is understood that it needs very bright sunshine. And it grows best on the black and the alluvial soil. So black soil is the best for the growth of cotton. Black soil. Then alluvial soil also is suitable, but more than alluvial soil, cotton soil is best for production or for the growth of cotton. Then let us see which are the countries that are going or very good for growing this cotton. So China is leading. China is the country that produces majority or the most of the cotton. Then USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and Egypt, they are the leading producers of cotton. So let's say once again which are the countries that are leading producers of cotton in the world. So China, USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil and Egypt. These are the important countries that are producing. So let's say once again what are the conditions that are required for the growth of cotton. First of all, we said it requires high temperature. Then it needs light rainfall, 210 frost-free days, and it needs very bright sunshine. So these are the requirements for the growth of cotton. Now let us see about second type of fiber products. Fiber cultivation, fiber plants. So that is called jute. So jute was also known as golden fiber. So you can underline that. Which plant is known as golden fiber? So which one is known as golden fiber? It is the jute. It grows well on alluvial soil and requires high temperature, heavy rainfall and humid climate. So it is somewhat different from the situations where cotton is growing. So cotton needs very light rainfall, but jute requires heavy rainfall. So just the opposite. Jute requires heavy rainfall and both requires high temperature. So cotton as well as jute both require very high temperature. But in the matters of rain, the cotton requires light rainfall, but jute requires heavy rainfall. Then, and it requires humid climate. Again, we said in the case of cotton, it needs the frost-free days. But for this jute, it requires humid climate. Climate containing humidity. Then the crop is grown in the tropical areas. So tropical areas have got very good high temperature as well as good rainfall. Therefore, in the tropical regions, this jute is cultivated. And India and Bangladesh are the leading producers of jute. So we can be proud of that India is a leading producer of jute. India along with Bangladesh. So before Bangladesh was partitioned from India, all that area, West Bengal area, including the Bangladesh, all that area was very well suitable for the growth of this jute, and India would have been the leading country. Now after the partition, a lot of jute cultivation area has gone to become part of the Bangladesh. Therefore, Bangladesh is also a leading country in producing or in cultivating jute. So let's say once again the climatic conditions that are required for the growth of jute. First of all, it is known as golden fiber. Then it grows well in the alluvial soil. Then it requires very high temperature and it needs very heavy rainfall and it needs a very humid climate. That is a requirement. And it is mostly grown in tropical region where there is high temperature and heavy rainfall. Then now let us come to beverage crops. Beverage means the crops that are cultivated for drinks. I hope we already studied in the beginning of this lesson the crops that are used for making drinks, that is coffee, tea and so on. So here we shall especially study about these two crops, coffee and tea. Coffee and tea. These are the two common beverages in our country. First, let us see about coffee. So, coffee requires warm and wet climate and well-drained loamy soil. So, what is the geographical conditions that require for the growth of coffee? It needs wet climate and warm and wet climate. That means there should be good sunshine, at the same time there should be also lot of rain should be there. So warm and wet, that is one thing. Then the soil that it needs is well drained soil. That means water should not remain stagnant there. Water should be drained out. It should not remain stagnant. There should be good rain, but should not remain stagnant there. It should be drained out. Then hill slopes are more suitable for the growth of this crop. So since it does not like the water stagnant place, the coffee mostly growing in the hill slopes. So their water will never remain stagnant, isn't it? Water will be always drained out. It will be flowing down. So such a kind of slopy areas is good for the cultivation of coffee. Then Brazil is the leading producer, followed by Colombia and India. So in the world, the country Brazil is the leading producer of coffee, And after Brazil, we can say Colombia. Then third position is for India. So India also, a lot of area is used for cultivation of this coffee. So we can say coffee is a plantation farming, plantation agriculture. So a large area is chosen to cultivate only coffee. In between, no other plants are there, no other cultivations. Only this is there. So it is one of the plantation agriculture. So there's a very interesting story about how people invented the coffee. How did people know that this coffee is a very good energy drink? So the story is given there in the right side. You'll be able to read here. So we shall see. So who discovered the coffee plant? So there are different versions about the discovery of coffee. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that many people claim that they are the ones who invented coffee. So there are different versions are there. Let us see one version in here. So in about AD 850, so that is in the 9th century, the year 850 AD, Kaldi, an Arab god keeper. So a man called Kaldi, he was from Saudi Arabia, and his job was looking after the sheep. He was feeding the sheep, and he was puzzled by the cure antics of his flock. Tasted the berries of the evergreen bush on which the gods were feeding. So one day, as he was taking the gods out for feeding, he saw the gods are eating some leaves of some trees, and afterwards they are having some kind of strange feelings. The gods are having some kind of strange feeling. They feel like dancing, and they are very happy. So he was wondering why every day gods are eating grass and so many types of grasses, but one day after eating leaves of certain plants, the gods are so happy, they are so energetic. So some kind of extra feeling is going on in them. And so, on experiencing a sense of exhilaration, he proclaimed the discovery to the world. And so he also tasted this leaf to see why gods are feeling such a kind of antics, such kind of feelings. So when he ate these leaves, he also felt some kind of feeling, some kind of energy coming to his body, and therefore he declared this tree is good for making drinks. So that is how the coffee is invented. It was accidentally invented. Nobody knew that it is a good drink and so on. So it was the god who tasted first, and then this Kaldi tasted it, and he proclaimed to the whole world that this is a good drink and it will give us energy, it will make us happy and so on. So that is how the coffee was invented. So there are so many other stories are also there about the invention of coffee. We do not know all those stories, and we just for our sake of learning, we just go through this one story, understand that one story. Now let us come to about the second beverage drink, that is the tea. That is more common in India. More than coffee, people prefer tea in our country. So tea is a beverage crop grown on plantations. So just like coffee, the tea also is a plantation agriculture. That means it is planted in a huge area, large area, and nothing else. Only this one type of plant or one type of agriculture is planted in such a large area. That is called plantation farming. So tea also is like that, coffee also is like that. So let's see what are the requirements for the climate that is fitting for the growth of this tea. So it requires cool climate and well distributed rainfall throughout the year for the growth of its tender leaves. So for tea, you know, we are not using the seed or anything. For coffee, actually the seed is used. the seed is taken, dried properly and process it, powder it, and that is what we are using for making coffee. But in the case of tea, it is the leaves of the plant is plucked and dried and processed. So in order to have more leaves, the tea area or that area where it is cultivated, it should have a very cool climate, not too hot. Too hot means the leaves will become, we can say, it will become stagnant, it will not grow. But if it is a cool climate, new fresh leaves will come up, and therefore it also requires a lot of rain. In order to keep that climate cool, there should be rain should be there often. So very often there is no rain and people will be spraying water. They bring water and spray from helicopter and so it will be like artificial rain, so that the leaves will be able to grow. New and fresh leaves will be able to grow. So that is the way they cultivate tea and the climate that is required. Then about the soil, what kind of soil is required for the growth of tea? So it needs well drained loamy soils and gentle slopes. So the tea garden, it just like coffee, it also does not like the water stagnant place. So it should be a well drained area. The land water should be drained out, and it should be loamy soil. Loamy soil is the best. Clay and sand mixed, and that type of soil is the best for the growth of tea. And gentle slope is good. The land is gently sloping. That means the water will go out. Water will not remain stagnant there. Then labor in charge. Labor in large number is required to pick the leaves. So we said the tea, what we are using is, we pluck the leaf, the tender leaf of the plant, and that is dried and processed and used for making tea. So the area is very large, so many plants are there, therefore a lot of people are required for doing this work of plucking the leaves. So it needs a lot of laborers. And Kenya, India, China, Sri Lanka produce the best quality tea in the world. So in the world, if you consider China, more than China, Kenya is the first country, or the country that is producing the largest amount of tea. Then after Kenya, India is there, then China is there, then Sri Lanka. So these are the countries that are producing a large amount of tea in the world. So that is all about the beverage drinks. Now let us come to know about another topic, that is agricultural development. Agricultural development. So agricultural development refers to efforts made to increase the farm production in order to meet the growing demand of increasing population. So we know the agriculture that we practice in our country, more than 50% of the people are involved in this agriculture, and so the development should take place. We should not just remain in the same place or the same level, but we must increase the production. The agriculture should be developed. Or why should we develop? We develop the agriculture so that we can produce more food grains. Why we need more food grains? It is because the population is increasing, and therefore we need more food to satisfy all the people in this country. Otherwise the people will be increasing, the number of people, and the production is remaining the same, the production of food grain remaining same, then some people will be hungry, they will not get sufficient food. Therefore in our present situation in our country, we need to improve our financial conditions, we need to improve our agricultural conditions. Then this can be achieved in many ways. So how can we achieve this agricultural development? What can we do in order to develop our agriculture? And first thing is that increasing the cropping area. So you suppose if you are cultivating only this much area and there are some more free land is there, means change that one also into farmland. So start cultivating in more area, increase the area of cultivation. And second one is increase the number of crops grown. So sometimes in a year we cultivate only one time. So cultivate more times, increase into 2 times or 3 times. So may not be the same crop. After first we may plant paddy. After harvesting the rice or paddy, we can cultivate something else. After harvesting that, we can cultivate something else. Because in India seasons are changing. So in the summer season rice may be cultivated. Afterwards it is a spring season. Though we may cultivate something. Then again another season is coming. So it all depends on different, not the spring season, autumn season. So after the summer season, autumn season is there, then the winter season is there. So according to each situation, according to each season, which can be cultivated, we must plant, and so that we can have more food for the people of India. Another thing is improving irrigation facilities. So if we are going to cultivate 2 times or 3 times in a year, we may not have enough water for irrigating for the plants. So we should improve the irrigation facilities. We must store water, or we must direct the river water into the field by making canals and so on. So whatever we may do, we have to find solution for the problem of water. Water should be there, otherwise the farmers will not be able to cultivate 2 times or 3 times. So we have to do the irrigation facilities. Then we have to use fertilizers. So when we cultivate continuously in the same land, the soil's fertility is lost. And therefore what we need to do? We have to put some fertilizers. We have to use fertilizers for cultivation. And also we have to use high yielding variety of seed. So all the times we are using traditional seeds, the production remains same always. But there are good quality seeds are there. If you plant that one, we will get better crop. So these crops are scientifically made. These seeds are scientifically made, and they are able to give good crops. So you might have seen the cabbages. Some cabbages, if you put high seed, high yielding variety of seed or good seed, the cabbage will be very big. If you use ordinary seed, the cabbage will be very small. So we have to use always a very good seed so that the harvest will be better, the product will be better. Then mechanization of agriculture is also another aspect. So another thing is that we can use machine for cultivation, for plowing the field, for harvesting, for threshing. All the works can be done by machine. So if you use machine, then our work will be faster and we can immediately start another work. Otherwise we will be plowing with buffaloes or digging with a spade. It will take long time to finish the digging, then our planting will be late. If you do with machine, very fast, within few hours the work will be over. Immediately we can start planting and we will be able to finish up the work faster. So all these are important. Then the ultimate aim of the agricultural development is to increase food security. You can underline that. What is the ultimate aim of agricultural development? It is to increase the food security. So all the people in our country should have enough food to eat. That is our aim, that is our plan. For that only we are increasing the food production. Then agriculture has developed different places in different parts of the world. So farmers are there all over the world, and therefore they are developing this agriculture in different parts of the world. Then developing countries with large populations. So people who are not at reached the developed stage, those countries like India and so, they are still developing, and those developing countries like India, we have huge population is there. The people are very many in our country, and we have to practice intensive agriculture where crops are grown on small holdings mostly for subsistence. So most of the people in our country, what do? We cultivate a small plot of land that is ours, and we cultivate there for our own subsistence, for our own sustenance. That is called subsistence farming. So most of us are doing that way. So we don't have very huge farms, huge field, but small field which is able to support our own family. We are not worried about others. We are not worried about producing plenty. That is a problem with developing countries. So larger holdings are more suitable for commercial agriculture, as in USA, Canada, Australia and so on. So some of the countries like USA, Canada, Australia and so on, they are also agricultural countries, and their farmers have got very huge areas of land, and almost all the works are done with machine, and therefore they are more profitable. They are able to cultivate more, able to produce more and so on. But in India it is not possible because we are doing cultivation in a small piece of land, and that is affecting the production of our farmers. So we need to, if we want to improve the agriculture or develop the agriculture, then we also need to increase the cultivation land, and we need to do cultivation in the large scale, in the large field. Then only we will be able to improve. So in the next class we will be studying about comparison between an Indian farmer and an American farmer. What is the difference between the way Indian farmers cultivate and the way American farmers are cultivating? So we shall see in the next class that. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.